Thank you. So the clip we just saw was from LDI, which is one of the large trade shows. And we had a professional designer come in and do that for us, someone just like most of you. And I would have loved to set it up right here today, but it was over 1.25 million lumens of light, so you would all need sunglasses. And beyond that, it would have taken us probably like 5 days to set it up, because it was quite a big rig, 120 lights. But just, it goes to show you what you can do with high-end systems fixtures when you want to put on a very exciting, bright event, something that is less than dramatic, but more just excitement. And if you look at that video and you watch it, we're not going to watch it again because that would just, I could watch it all day, but if you watch it, you'll notice that there are so many different things happening in it. Every different instant is a different look. Sometimes they're using gobos, sometimes they're using framing. There's a really cool effect somewhere in the middle where they take the framing shutters and they do like a laser scan effect. It's very beautiful. But every single instant, they're trying to make something new and different and exciting happen. And that's why the fixtures need to be able to do so much and need to be so bright. And that's a little bit different than what we need to do, what we want to do with our ETC fixtures. For our ETC fixtures, we're not trying to make a spectacle of the lighting. We're trying to support the spectacle on the stage. And that means that we're not concentrated necessarily on the beams in air and the effects that the lights are doing, but more on how they help to enhance the scene. And for this reason, when we look at ETC fixtures, we talk about features and quality and all of those topics in a different way. For example, for an ETC fixture, when we talk about quality, it's not about making a fixture that can be in your rental inventory that will get beat up on a day in, day out tour, but it's more about making a fixture that will last for the long haul. And by that I mean, most of our theatrical customers, we find, they only have the money to buy lighting every couple of years, maybe every 5 years they have the budget to make a capital purchase like this. So for that reason, we want to make sure that the product that we're making is long lasting, that when they get their money to buy our product and they invest in it, that they're getting a product that will be substantial, high technology, and valuable for a long time. In this market, there's much less turnover. So we're not sitting here trying to compete with ourselves and make a new product every 6 months or year. We're trying to make a product that will do the job correctly for a long period of time. And likewise, when we talk about features, the features are very different as well. And the way that the features need to behave specifically is different. Whereas on the high-end system fixtures, we need to have as many features as possible. With the ETC fixtures, we need to have the right features, and we need to have them behave in the right way. And this is something we're going to concentrate on when we start looking on the lights. What does the right way mean for an ETC fixture? They also have to be the right cost, so that when you invest in them, you know you're getting the right product for your money. And especially the Releve Spot, which is designed to be kind of a lower cost fixture from ETC, not a premium level expensive fixture, but something for venues and spaces where they're a little more budget conscious. Another thing that's very important for our ETC products is efficiency, because we don't have a 800 amp generator outside to run every show. We have to use the building power that we have. We have to heat the building. It can get very expensive. With a rock and roll tour, they don't pay for the power. They don't really care, usually. But for a theatrical environment, you do care, because there's lots of ways that that cost adds up. So we're going to talk a little bit about some of these fixtures in depth. And I will try not to go too fast, because I have a tendency to do that. And my colleague here, Pearl, will help me by running some cues. So first of all, I'll just talk a little bit about this fixture. So the first fixture that I will talk about today is the Releve spot from ETC. The Releve spot is a theatrical moving light designed around the concepts of what a theatrical lighting designer wants. Because when we talk to theatrical lighting designers, their needs are very different than when we talk to a rock and roll or concert lighting designer. A theatrical designer is really tuned into color and the way color works and the way it looks, specifically in patterns with frost. They want to match perfectly the colors that they're used to, whether they be gel colors from Roscoe or Lee, Apollo, or any other company. And they're also very tuned into the way those colors look between multiple different fixtures. When we were watching that video just a couple of seconds ago, many of you probably didn't notice that the color palette of that video was very plain. It had very beautiful sections of deep yellows and bright magentas that are sweeping across. And that added that excitement and that brightness. But they never made any subtle colors. It was red, green, blue, cyan, yellow, magenta. The colors that a subtractive light, like a white light that subtracts light, those are the colors they do the best, because you're only using one flag or maybe two flags. Not to get too technical about it. But in a theatrical setting, you may want yellow, but you want a specific yellow. You want the yellow that brings out the sash on the lead actress. Or you want the blue that matches the pants of the prince in Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. You need the perfect color, the right color, not just a color. And that's something that Releve Spot is very tuned into and concentrated on. And this kind of brings up the difference between additive and subtractive color mixing. Additive color mixing, I've been asked to talk a little bit about it. Additive color mixing is when you take light sources of multiple different colors, you add them onto each other to mix another color. Subtractive color mixing is the opposite. You start with a white color, and from that white color, you subtract light in order to get different colors, like red and green and blue. So if you subtract cyan and yellow, you get green. The problem with subtractive color is, while you start with a really high white output, your colored output suffers. It's not as bright as if you were adding colors together to make it. And as you try to make very precise colors, subtractive color mixing doesn't support that precision of color quite as well as an additive system. Some of the other benefits that are specific to ETC are the way we calibrate our colors and the technology that we call thermal droop protection. So for calibrating colors, it's actually a very interesting procedure. At the factory, we have a very expensive machine, and it reads the light output of every single LED emitter in every single fixture. And it compares them to a golden standard of what that fixture should be. And then what it does even beyond that is it then programs the fixture to know what color it is. Now what this means is when you instruct the fixture to make a color, it's not simply saying, okay, red LED at 75%, blue LED at 25%. It's saying, okay, I know that my red LED is this color. And I know that in order for me to make the exact color that they requested, I need to add a little less blue, or maybe even some green. And that way, we're not relying solely on the binning of the LEDs, but we're actually using the fixture and its individual calibration to make it so that the color is as precise as possible. And of course, everyone bins their LEDs, they choose a specific color, and then they do their best to make sure all their LEDs match that color. But in engineering, there's always tolerance, and our color calibration helps us defeat that tolerance. And likewise, we also use another technology in order to really concentrate on this ability to make sure our colors are perfect, and it's called thermal droop compensation or protection. And what this is, not to get too technical again, over time, LEDs get hot, and as they get hot, they get less bright. This is a fact of life. You can run a fan really loud in order to try and overcool them, to get them cooler, but at some point, you won't be able to keep up, or it'll be so loud that your audience will kill you. They won't kill you, they'll just be very upset. On the ETC fixtures, what we do is we actually plan for this loss of light due to heating up. So when we know that the fixture is cool, and the LEDs will be in their optimum performance, we don't push them to be as bright as they can. That way, when they get a little hotter, we can drive them a little harder and keep the color temperatures the same, the color looking the same. And what this means is that when you look at your stage, you have a beautiful, even stage wash across the entire stage. Okay, enough talking. Let's look at some light. Q1, please. Okay, so today we're looking at the Releve spot from ETC. This fixture's hanging right here on this first electric and shining on the wall next to the screen. The Releve spot is really unique because it is an additive color spot fixture, which means, as I said, we add red, green, indigo we call it, but others call it deep blue, and lime. We add those colors together to make all of our other colors. And you'll see I'm also sharing a chart here on your left. This chart is a very interesting chart because what it shows is the comparison of the Releve spot's brightness to a competitive white light source. So we take both of the fixtures, we put them in the same size on a white wall, like this white wall. And then we measure the output of each one individually, make sure that they're the same color, measure them individually, and then we charted that out to show you. Something that we hear about additive color sources often is, oh, I don't know if it's bright enough. And in white, 7,000 degrees Kelvin, that's true. This 480 watt source is 20,000 lumens in that white. But that's the white that you use to cut through haze. That's not the white you use to light a stage. So here we are in a beautiful 3,200 Kelvin. And as you can see, the white light source, if we had it on the wall, is just slightly brighter. maybe 6-7% brighter. So not a major increase or difference. But now when we go to the next cue, what you start seeing is that even subtle changes in tint, even minor changes as we move towards the perfect color for our scene, are enough to cause major differences. Look at how our chart is affected by just that minor change from 3200 Kelvin to Li 249. I'll talk about this a little bit. Theatrical lighting designers, they have a very unique and interesting way of talking about color. They don't talk about color like, hey, okay, give me red, okay, a little redder red, take some green, okay, no, not that red. That's the red. That's not how they talk about it. They say, I want a specific color. I want R19. They walk into the show and they say, this is the red I want. Or this is the green I want. And by doing that, they have a really unique and, to be honest, exceptional language that they can speak about color in. And Releve Spot supports this language in the way that it uses calibrated color and the way that it uses interaction with the consoles. So as we move through these colors and I call out different gel colors, what you'll see on the wall is slight changes in color that really can mean huge things. So we'll go to the next cue, please. We're getting a little pinker as we go into Li 39. Next. And into Li 794. And look at the chart here. That fixture that was previously twice as bright, 6 or 7% brighter, is now half as bright. It's not even close anymore. Also, we're still only using 180 watts on the Releve fixture. In fact, actually a little bit less. This is Li 3028. Next, please. Now we're going to go into the blues. In these blues, the white light source comes back a little bit. Next, please. R64. But you'll see it's still pretty close. Next, please. And coming into R80, one of our favorite colors. And next, a nice blue. This blue is interesting because people know R80 so well, but what they don't know is what that color is. And the reason is because that color is much brighter than R80 tends to be. You put it in a source 4, you lose so much light, it feels like it's darker and dingier. Well, all we'd have to do is bring the intensity down and it would look exactly the same. And next, please. Now we get back into greens and we see that the Releve spot's brighter again. Next, please. Next. Next. So obviously, I spend a lot of time talking about color, and that's because it's very important to this fixture, the Releve spot. The way it does color and how it does color, how precise the color is, how calibrated and similar it is across the line. These are all things that are very important for us and for this product. But of course, it's an automated light, so it does other things. The fixture actually has 2 planes with gobos on it. It has a rotating gobo wheel. The rotating gobo wheel has indexing and also continuous rotation. Those gobos are all interchangeable with glass or stainless steel gobos. We're very proud to be one of the very few fixtures that can utilize stainless steel gobos. And there's a reason why stainless steel gobos are very important to us. It's because theatrical customer, they're not necessarily making a show that's going to run for a year. They're making a show that may last 3 or 4 weeks. So spending $100 per gobo, or 10,000 Korean, is too expensive, way too expensive. But if you can use a stainless steel gobo and use it for a shorter period of time, that is a very efficient use of your lighting budget. And so we're very proud that this fixture can actually use stainless steel gobos. And as a side note, we don't have any history of those gobos burning out, so they really actually last just as long as a glass gobo, just costs much less. We also have this wheel, I'll show you a little video of it, called the Anagobo wheel. The Anagobo wheel is a really interesting piece of design. And what it basically is a single gobo wheel with 6 different patterns on it. You can see them all as they flow by. And each of those 6 different patterns is connected from one to the next with artwork. So as you switch from one gobo to the next, you don't see a big black line flying through. You just see the gobo moving, morphing from one to the next. This is really great because, first of all, it gives you 6 more patterns that you can use of various different styles of breakup. But what it also does is it gives you an animation wheel that you can take out of focus, that you can use for gobo morphing, that you can use for texturing and stuff like that we'll look at in a second. So I want to go back to this for a second. So we made it to R80 and I was talking about gobos. But one of the things that's really important for a theatrical designer is how those gobos react to color. And specifically, how those gobos react when they're out of focus. Because a theatrical lighting designer is going to do one of 3 things with an ellipsoidal. They're going to focus it at the stage and put a gobo in it. They're either going to leave that gobo sharp, which we're doing right now. They're going to take it out of focus to kind of change the texture and make it a little bit more soft, or they're going to add diffusion to it. This is one of the things that's really hard. The second one, something that's really hard for subtractive lights, because the subtractive light uses glass with a pattern on it. That pattern oftentimes becomes visible. Can you hit go, please? But with this fixture, the Releve spot, because it's additive, because the color mixing system is so different, when I take a color and I go out of focus, I still keep that color. And as my shadows change their definition, I still have that feeling, that same color as I had before. Next. So as I move from one color to the next, I don't see strange edges and dark sections moving in or anything like that. I see nice, even, beautiful color. And if you can imagine this light pointing down at the stage instead of at a wall, what you'll notice is that it looks beautiful across the entire stage. Next, please. A deeper orange. Next. And there's a different pattern. And next. Can you go back? Sorry, I went too fast. So I was saying that the other thing that's important, or the third thing that a designer will do, is use diffusion to give themselves a very even look. So in order to achieve this, we added a diffusion into the fixture, but not just any diffusion. We very specifically added a theatrical frost, Roscoe 132. Go. And what you'll notice is, as this frost comes in over 5 seconds, it's incredibly even. There's no shadows or weirdness. But it's very light frost. It only very lightly tints the edges or softens the edges. It doesn't blow it out a lot. Next. Next. And as we move through different colors, we'll see, oh, yeah, that looks like a frost. But what we can also do is move the edge out. Next, please. And as we take the edge out, we can make that frost a little bit frostier, more diffuse, so that we can imitate other diffusions like a 119, 114. And next, please. So as you can see, with the Releve spot, it's all designed around color and making these colors beautiful and making a beautiful stage wash or a gobo pattern wash for the theatrical mindset. Next. Next. And as we mix all these colors, we far surpass what we could have achieved with a standard subtractive automated light. Next. And last. And then one of the other things that's very important about theatrical lighting is the quality of the dimming. And this is something that we still have another benefit on with a additive color mixing system because the LEDs are able to be driven at lower intensity or lower amperage. Next, please. So as I fade out here over 10 seconds, you see how evenly and slowly, no jumps, no jerks. And at the very end, it just melts away into nothing. And then as it comes back up, go. There's no pop on. It doesn't jump. It comes on slowly and smoothly. And then last cue, please. And then I talked about how we have two gobo wheels. One of the things that's really beautiful about this is how you can use those two gobo wheels together. So by putting one gobo on top of the other gobo, adding in a little color, we can give ourselves very natural looks. Now, on a white screen, this is not how we light a show. We light it by pointing it down at the stage, by lighting actors, by lighting people. But still, very beautiful, natural, and very even colored. This is something that a subtractive light, if you tried to make this and get that color out of it, you'd be very disappointed. Thank you. There's also some other interesting features about the Releve spot. Can you fade that out? First of all, we kind of designed this fixture to be for people who are new to moving lights. There's lots of moving lights out there designed for people who have been using moving lights for a long time. But we wanted to make something that was good for the beginner. And so we took this concept of modularity and we really took it to another level. And by that I mean not only are the internal effects modular, as you can see in this rotating looping animation, but also the LED assembly is modular. The main brain component module down in the base is modular. Anyone in this room with a screwdriver in 30 seconds could swap out the power supply on this fixture. It makes it very easy to do service at any level, whether you're an experienced technician or whether you are a first-time user. This adds to that idea of being able to have a fixture that lasts for a long time. It's not necessarily, if you're doing having a fixture for 10 years, sometimes you might need to do something to it, and making it very easy to do those things is very important for us. The fixture also has a really cool new technology, which I can't really show right now, but maybe later when we all come on stage, I can show it to some folks, whoever wants to see it. The technology is called Whisper Home. And what it essentially does, well, it's interesting that I can't show it because you can't really see it anyways. And the reason you can't see it is because when I turn the fixture on, it doesn't move. It doesn't start moving left to right, running its pan, running its tilt, trying to get to a point where it knows its position. When you turn the fixture on, it's done. It knows its position. Not quite as fast as I snap my fingers, but it takes about 10 seconds, maybe 15 seconds for the entire calibration feature to be done with the fixture. So in general, the fixture is done booting up, calibrating, and homing before most other fixtures have even gotten into their boot screen. This is a really great feature for a couple of reasons. First of all, if you've ever lost power during a show and you've had to wait a minute and a half for your lights to come back, you know that that is the longest minute. Another reason it's great is because it doesn't have to move, you don't have to worry about restrictions of where you can put the light. Now, normally a moving light is, you have to make it so that there's nothing that could possibly get in the rotational area of that light. Well, with our light, you simply tell it what its restrictions are, like don't hit this wall, or don't hit the fixture that's hanging right next to you, and it will automatically restrict itself from ever going into that range. So you could hang it out here in these box booms on the side of the theater, and pack that box boom filled with other lights, and still use the fixture to cover the entire stage without ever having to worry about it pointing at the back of the theater, which is probably something you wouldn't necessarily want it to do. So all in all, a fixture that's really designed from a theatrical perspective, from the notes and the comments and the requirements that we get from theatrical customers. Now this is very different, as I spoke about in the beginning, about what we do with a high-end systems product. And I'm going to talk about some of our high-end systems products now so that we can see how they're different and why they're different. All right. So I'm going to talk about the SolarFrame 750 next. The SolarFrame 750 is a really exciting product. This is the first product that ETC came out with after we acquired high-end systems. So this is the first ETC high-end systems fixture. And when this fixture started development, the purpose behind it was that we wanted to make a fixture that was small enough for a space like this, or actually even smaller for a cruise ship. Now, cruise ships do a lot of events. They do magicians and dancers. They have concerts. They do all sorts of things in their showrooms. And they need a light that's very feature-rich, that can do all of these different types of shows, whether they be entertainment shows or maybe something dramatic. I don't think that they get too dramatic on the cruise ship. They wouldn't want someone to find the edge of the ship. But as you can see in this picture of a cruise ship showroom, the ceiling's rather low, probably a little lower than my ceiling here. The front of house beam isn't very far away. And the balcony, that's even less far away. So we're in a very small space, but we still need a very wide feature set. We still need framing. That's something that was very important on this fixture. If you haven't figured out the naming scheme yet for high-end systems, Sola is the brand name. And then we always name our fixture after what their primary feature is. So a frame, Sola frame, is always going to be a framing fixture with a hard edge. So all of our Sola frame fixtures, framing fixtures with hard edge. And all of our Sola spot fixtures, hard edge fixtures with gobos, like a spot fixture. The SolarFrame 750, of course, has a very wide feature set, framing shutters, gobo wheel, animation, and prism. It also has a very wide zoom. The zoom goes from 6 all the way out to 50 degrees in a hard edge gobo. What this means is that whether you're using it over the stage and trying to project patterns or color the stage, it can do that. But also if you're putting it at the front of house and you're trying to get a longer throw spot or a beam effect, you can do something like that with it as well with its narrow 6 degrees. It's very feature packed, has lots of features. I could go through them, but I list them too fast and then I get the note over here. It's also designed to be quiet so that in a small space you don't hear the fans running. I can hear fans right now. And it's also designed to be low maintenance. One of the technologies at high-end systems that we're very proud of is our lens defogger. And what the lens defogger is it's a technology that allows us to prevent haze and smoke and other atmospheric effects from dirtying the lenses of our fixtures. So our front lens is protected so that as haze and fog and smoke try to settle on it, they instead evaporate. This is very important for a place where they use lots of haze As you can see on stage there's quite a bit of haze. It's also important for a place where they don't want to spend a lot of time taking their lights down and cleaning them. So it helps the contrast, helps the brightness. It's a very valuable feature, especially with LED fixtures. All right, it's time for another video. So everyone, this is a video just talking about the feature set for the SolarFrame 750. Gives me a chance to drink some water. Enjoy.
Yeah, I know you've heard it. Sorry, your venue is too small for lights with all the bells and whistles. Well, we've got a little something for you. SolarFrame 750. This LED fixture pumps out bucket loads of lumens without burning lamp hours, ever. Ultra bright indeed. SolarFrame 750 has more than enough light to fill your entire space with a mahoosive 6 to 50 degree zoom. We can hit every corner. Did someone say corner? Framing shutters. Oh yes, framing shutters. They'll do squares, rectangles, quadrangles, triangles, sharp angles, and full sweeps. Oh, you want more? CMY mixing? Yes. CTO? Yes. Color wheel? Yes. Prism? Yes. Rotating gobos? Well, that's a yes. Iris? Yes. Frost? Yes. Sharks with laser beam mode? Yes! Oh, I mean no. But lens defogger? Yes. Yeah, this light was designed for you. This light was built for you. Treat your theatre, studio, worship space, trade show, event space, whatever space, the way you want. Nay, deserve to be treated. SolarFrame 750.